Hey everybody, let's take a look at some more political excess. This time, this AP story that covers the trend over the past year that shows the number of Democrats that have switched over to the Republican Party. A couple of weeks ago, there was a bunch of stories out that headlined 1 million voters have re-registered to the Republican Party. This story updates it just a little bit. And what this shows is across 31 states, about two-thirds of the voters that have changed their party registration have changed to the Republican Party. And this is across all states, all regions, small towns, large cities, and most importantly, in the suburbs. And here's one voter in particular in suburban Colorado, where the article outlines his concerns for leaving the Democratic Party. And those reasons are support for mandatory COVID-19 vaccines, the inability to quell violent crime, and the frequent focus on racial justice. And he goes on to say it's more of a rejection of the left than embracing the right. And I think this is true for many of these party switchers, and I think it was probably true when people switched back toward the Democrats. I think it's usually more of a rejection of the party in power, the status quo, rather than embracing the alternative. Now, some of this is actually a political realignment in certain states, certain regions. That's true. And also some of this is cyclical, where there's bound to be a switch toward the Republicans, and then inevitably there will be another swing back toward the Democrats. They don't have to be dramatic swings, but that's generally how it goes. I know once one party gets in power, they want to hold on to the dream that they're going to do the right thing and they're going to have the voters keep rewarding them. It just very, very rarely happens, especially nowadays with all the polarization and the fringes of both sides increasingly becoming the loudest voices to drown out most of the people toward the middle. But this article goes on to say that, of course, the Democrats, it's looking bad for them, but they're not going to take anything for granted. They're going to make historic investments. It's obvious they're not going to want to concede anything or show any weakness. That's just how it goes in politics. Everybody is going to win until they don't. And the article continues to discuss dramatic shifts in Iowa and Florida, as well as many of the suburban counties that have swung toward the Republicans. So you could check the party registration for each state. Not every state has that available, I believe, but that will give you a good idea as to where the trend is heading in your state. However, if we go over to Gallup, we can see their most recent party affiliation survey is 27% Republican, 27% Democratic, and 43% independent. And then if you go down below, it does ask the independents which way do they lean, and it's very close, but it is 46% for the Republicans, 45% for the Democrats. So I know the Democrats are banking on the Supreme Court decision to somehow solve all of their problems, but that is just one thing amongst many. And the media does play a large role in what it wants to highlight and what it wants to suppress. So there are a lot of factors and facets to this as to which way people are going to vote and how they're influenced. Things do look good for the Republicans. However, they should not get overly confident. I'll highlight this story from back in May where there was a special election for the Michigan State House. And that was a flip and a pickup for the Democrats, where there was a controversial Republican candidate. And in the end, that candidate lost by over 10 points. But just less than 2 years ago, the Republican won there by over 25 points. So that is a colossal swing, and that is the area outside of Grand Rapids. So that should be a warning sign for the Republicans that you're not going to just coast to victory regardless of the candidates and regardless of what you stand for. Sometimes it might work, but this is definitely a warning sign, just in case they needed another reason to stay focused if they really want to have a massive red wave in just a few months. So that is a look at the current state of voters changing their party registration. Let me know what you think of this topic down below. Is the trend going to continue? Is it going to reverse? And if you're a fan of this content, please consider liking, sharing, and subscribing. Thank you for watching, and I will see you on the next video.